Hey guys, Jane here, and I want to talk to you about In an Absent Dream.
Pictures and patterns put into words that stream across the page, capturing life as soft spoken.
This is, I believe, book 4 of the Wayward Children series, and I really enjoy this series overall. I've had a good time with it. They are very fast-paced, which I appreciate, and fairly quick reads. This was an audiobook, and I think it was like a 5-hour audiobook, and I really appreciated that it was nice and quick and to the point. I felt it could have actually at times been a little slower. But we'll get there in the more spoilery section. But I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. The series in general is about children who have come out of a portal world and go to a special school for children who have lived in portal worlds and are trying to readjust to life outside of their portal world. In this particular book, we have Lundy, and this is actually focused on her portal world. So in the series, there's kind of an altering school with the kids versus then the next book is a portal world and then a thing at the school. And so this is book 4, so this is Lundy's portal world. And Lundy has a really interesting portal world that there is this very strong sense of value and giving fairly and taking fairly, and they call it fair value, and I really love the concept of it in her world. So I did think that it's kind of a slow start. I also think that the narration is a little unusual. These are, I believe, told in third person omniscient, which is not my favorite way to tell a story. They're told in a little bit of a fairy tale-esque kind of way. So I don't love the style, but I like the books enough that the style when I first start reading them is a little jarring, and I had trouble at the beginning being like, "Oh wait, I know I love this series, but what are we doing?" And then after I got into it, I was like, "Okay, I love it again." It just at first the first little bit I was like, "Oh, I forgot that this is the style." So the style of these I don't love. I did love all the Portal World stuff. I did feel that there are times that it needed to slow down and tell me some stuff because there was some stories that I feel like we missed out on, and this book could have probably been twice as long. I think we're not super focused. We're focused on the Portal World, but we're more focused on Lundy and her character and kind of some choices that she has to make. So we're just given enough about her Portal World to introduce us to those things. But I could have spent a lot more time in her Portal World. It was interesting. Also, the end was fitting, but I didn't love it. So it was kind of one of those, I didn't really love the beginning, I didn't really love the ending, but I love the middle. I did, like I said, give it 4 stars because I did really have a good time, but it was a little bit of an uneven journey. So I'm going to get into some spoilers now and talk a little more in depth about my thoughts on this book. So if you have not read this book and don't want to be spoiled, go ahead and pop off now. Otherwise, let's have a discussion about this book. So one of the things that happens early on is she is in this portal world, and then she's in a battle, and her friend dies. And that makes her leave the portal world for a while. And kind of throughout this book, she's going in and out and in and out and in and out, and her portal world allows that. She's supposed to go in and out until she's 18, and then she has to make a decision about whether she's going to stay or go. And she initially has 2 friends in the portal world. I don't remember if we're introduced to the second friend, the one who dies in this battle. But I definitely felt like we didn't get to see this whole epic battle. We hear a little bit about it at the end of, or as flashback type stuff, or she says, we were fighting the Spider Queen and her friend dies. Mockery is her friend, dies, and her other friend is Moon. So Mockery dies, but I don't remember if we even met Mockery. Like, I definitely didn't have strong feelings about her death, and well, I do about Moon because we've met Moon, and she comes home. And I just felt like we could have spent some time seeing that epic adventure, but it's very much more like snapshots of this different stuff. Or she comes back and Moon Moon is transforming into a bird, because if you are not giving and taking fairly, you can turn into a bird. And so she has to like rescue Moon from all that. And it's really cool, the rules and laws, and it's a really neat portal world. But again, then, when she leaves again, we don't really know what sparked it. She's tired of sleeping on the floor. I mean, it's very much like the focus is her journey, and I get that, but I also would have liked to see more of the really cool stuff happening in her portal world, because the portal world was really interesting. And I am not a setting person. Like, I do not typically enjoy very setting heavy stories. I want it to be about her and the complexity of her issue of, do I stay? Do I go? Because at home, she's got a little sister. She's got a dad who has been in a portal world. And initially, he tries to prevent her from coming back to the portal world. And it's just such an interesting it's such an interesting battle for her of, this is my world. I feel very connected here, but then I also have this family at home who loves me, who misses me, and I have to choose. I either have to give up this portal world forever when I turn 18, or I have to give up my family forever and stay here. And so I really liked that was her like issue, the complexity of the story, but I also felt really frustrated because we were just getting really tiny snippets of this world. And I could have, the book could have been a good 2 hours longer, and I would have still been there for it and given me more about like this adventure that she had fighting the Spider Queen and her friend Mockery who died, and why she came back the second time, and some of the other ins and outs. Like, I feel like we just got like very small scene, and we could have gotten a lot more connection throughout, and I would have been very much on board with it. So then at the end, Lundy doesn't want to make a choice. She thinks she's going to choose the portal world, but she doesn't really want to make a choice, and she ends up breaking a rule or doing something. She was trying to find a loophole. And the loophole was she got like an aging potion to try to like prevent herself from becoming 18 and having to make a choice, but she ends up getting kicked out of her portal world forever because of this loophole thing. And I vaguely remember that Lundy existed in the other books, but I don't remember what her character, anything about her character really. But again, I've read these over a span of time. I didn't read them like back to back to back to back. But she is like aging backwards, and I don't know. Like, it was a weird ending that was probably already explained in another book, but I didn't like it. Like, I got what they were doing and I got why, and it was fitting, but I just didn't personally like it. Like, I wanted Lundy to have to make the choice, and she didn't. She was trying to find this loophole, and ultimately the choice was taken from her, and now in our world she's aging backwards, which is so weird and like a whole problem, because her sister then has grown up and has a child who's been taken to one of the portal worlds, presumably the same one, because their dad had been taken there too and didn't stay. And I don't know, like, if one of them stays, if it ends the cycle, or if they just show up there and they're like, hey, auntie, nice to see you. I don't know how that works, but again, overall, really good book. Love the beginning, or love the middle, didn't love the beginning, didn't love the end. So middle, really good, solid, cool story. Loved, very invested in the portal stuff. But some of the other stuff I was really I didn't love as much. But again, overall, a 4-star read. It was a little too fast paced maybe for my taste. I wanted more, but I was invested and I really had a good time. So if you have read this series, which book is your favorite? So for me, so far, I think it was book 3 that was my favorite. I want to say that's Underneath the something sky, Underneath the Cotton Sky, or the Cotton Candy Sky, or something. I don't remember all the details, but it was the book before this that has been my favorite in the series so far. And obviously, this is as far as I've read. I might have a different favorite later. There are a couple that I'm really excited to get to, or I hope that the author gives us. There's one character in particular who I really want to know their portal story. So I really enjoy the series. It's a really cool concept, a really cool idea. And like I said, I like the pacing of them being fairly quick. Fantasy can be a little sloggy for me, but these are almost on the other side of things, too quick, and I want just a little bit more. So I guess I'm hard to satisfy is what it really comes down to when it comes to fantasy. But yes, which one is your favorite if you read the series? Which characters are your favorite if you've read the series? And are there other books that you could recommend that are kind of similar to this, that are very character focused, but fantasy, but not super, super detail and then setting oriented, fairly quicker paced? Even if they're this quick, I wish these would slow down just a little bit, but even if they're quicker, like I think I'd rather have fast paced fantasy than too slow. So do you have any recommendations kind of similar to this? Because I do enjoy this series. All right, guys, this has been Jane. Talk to you next time. Bye.